Good afternoon and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today we're going to have an onion update. Now I planted out these onions 5 weeks ago. The seeds were started indoors 12 weeks ago, and that made them 6 weeks old when I planted them out. And we have 4 jobs we need to do today. We need to remove any old cardboard pieces. We need to weed, add back the leaf mulch, and remove these low hoops. They're almost too tall for those. And we're going to replace it with tall hoops. Now in the fall, I chop and drop my old plants and I leave the mulch from that current growing year and I cover everything with cardboard. Then I put new mulch on top and it slowly breaks down. But this area had fall vegetables, so that cardboard was already punched through and had holes in it for those vegetables to grow. And now the spaces in between have dried out, and the skunk's been digging on the outside and pushing this cardboard up against the onions. Now that's better. The cardboard between the onions and the strawberries will leave. And like I said, that skunk kept trying to dig in and pushing this cardboard. Now we need to get the leaf mulch back on top, but first I want to water. I want to make sure it's moist under those leaves because onions require a lot of water. They need 1 inch every 4 days. So far this spring, we've had good steady rain, and I haven't had to water. But the first week after transplanting, I did keep them watered every day until they got established. Aren't really that many weeds yet, and getting the mulch back on top will help. Now if you notice, I did not trim my tops. The YouTube channel No Till Growers inspired me not to trim the tops. Because remember, the green leaves, the tops of your onions, those are your solar energy collectors for developing big bulbs. 1 leaf is responsible for 1 ring of the onion. Each layer requires a leaf. So the bigger, the healthier, and the more leaves you have, the better the bulb. I'll link their onion video in the description. I almost forgot I wanted to add some organic slug control because slugs love moist, dark spaces under the mulch. Onions are heavy nitrogen feeders. Now this area, I raised quail for 4 years, so it's already very rich soil. But if you've already planted your onions but didn't add any bone or blood meal, you can still do it. Just side dress your onions. Follow the instructions. Now in this cool weather is when the leaves develop. And it's the time to feed and water and keep your weeds pulled. But what causes the bulbs to develop? Well, that depends on daylight hours. And there's 3 varieties that require different amount of daylight. So the first of these onions are a red Italian flat onion called, let me look at my notes, hang on, make sure how to spell it. Cipollini. They require a minimum of 12 hours of light to start bulbing. At that time, stop feeding them because you don't want the leaves to keep growing. You want the bulb to develop, but you've got to continue watering. The more the onions grow, the closer to harvest, the more water they need. So those are my red Italian flat onions. Those are intermediate day onions. Now next to them are my Walla Walla onions, a big sweet onion. Those are long day onions and they require a minimum of 14 hours of daylight to start bulbing up. And last are my sweet yellow Spanish Utah onions. They're like the Walla Walla. They're a long day onion and they require 14 hours of daylight to start bulbing up. The more north you live in the U.S., the more summer sun you get. The farther south you live in the U.S., the less hours of summer daylight you get. So in the south, you have to grow short day onions. But here in north central Maryland, I can grow intermediate or long day onions. So make sure you pick which variety is best for your area if you want to grow large bulbs. Last, we're going to remove these green hoops, because we're going to change them out for these tall hoops called super hoops. But I'm going to make a whole separate video about that, how to set it up. So why do I still need these? It's because skunks and the squirrels will dig in this area, and I need to leave netting on all season long. Let me show you last night what the skunk did, looking for grubs and nuts that squirrels had hidden. Now here's our other onion bed, and I've already set up the super hoops. I better get busy filming that second video because I can't leave that open overnight. The skunks will destroy them. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.